Exactly. Yeah. Couldn't agree more. And I think that's a great segue into the topic of today's masterclass, which is going to be marketing. So thank you very much, Wing Commander Thwaites. Good man. Get well soon, my friend. So I'm going to go through a quick overview of what we're going to cover. Susie, welcome to the call. Good to see you as well. We'll go through a very quick overview of what we're going to cover, and we will then go through some quick fire points of action. There might be space for a little bit of Q&A at the end on this one. We'll see how it goes. And then, yeah, that's the plan. So, number one, this one is going to be focused on personalized outreach and how to use AI to generate personalized outreach. And I'll use email as the framework for a lot of this conversation, but this will apply in principle to various other platforms and really anything where you're connecting with more than one prospective customer in your business, either at one time or over the course of a short period of time. So that might be like, an email list of 1,000 or 10,000. It might be social media posts, DMs. It might be LinkedIn posts, following up on LinkedIn comments. There's a number of different ways that you can use the ideas that we'll talk about today. But what it essentially boils down to is that in this day and age, the way that AI is transforming the landscape of sales and marketing is we are shifting away from one-to-many type approaches and messaging, and we are shifting into a one-to-one unique dialogue, personalized dialogue. And that applies not just in marketing and not just in sales, not just in the messaging, but also in the customer journey, in product delivery as well. Things like unique customer experiences instead of fixed frameworks, like fixed courses that everyone just goes through. Instead, we can have very unique, very tailored, incredibly powerful one-to-one customer journeys that we can craft with the help of AI. And so having this idea in mind, this thought that every customer journey is unique and can be unique, can begin to open up the doors, open up the possibilities to, well, how can you deliver a truly exceptional customer experience that has never been possible to this level before? And that's not just like an AI buzz phrase. Like, it quite literally could not have been done to this scale. It just wasn't economically feasible. That's why we used SaaS products, systems, autoresponders, email outreach, CRM, paid ads. All of these things are one-to-many with the same message. It just would not be economically viable to run one ad to one person. You can literally do that now, though. So it's in a different world that we live in. So the thing I would urge you to think is cold email, and a lot of you guys know this is the backbone of a lot of what I've been doing for multiple business now. So both clients, my own 2 ventures, and also we're now going to incorporate it into Amy's business, Betches, as well, with the JV offer that we're going to launch to other cities in America. That's now a B2B offer targeting business owners to position partnering with Betches and using our infrastructure in their business. And we're selling a high ticket package to do that, as it's a business offer to other pet care solopreneurs across cities, right? So the thing I would urge you is, even if you're sitting here thinking, well, I target consumers, I don't really do cold email marketing, can't do cold email marketing, this doesn't apply to me. No, not the case. Focus on the personalized messaging aspect. Focus on, think about how could I apply what we're going to talk about today to connecting with my own prospective customers. Everyone has data, everyone gathers data, everyone over time that you're in business, you're going to have prospect lists. And being able to interact with those prospects on a one-to-one basis instead of just mass marketing or mass email lists or autoresponders is going to serve you very well to really tailor and build that relationship. The last thing I'll say on this point as well, and this is something that we hear a lot in different capacities, but the belief that AI takes away from human relationships is something we hear again and again and again. You hear it at the highest level, job cuts, layoffs in big Fortune 500 companies. AI is replacing people, and to an extent, like, you could argue, well, it's replacing skill sets, it's replacing roles. Yes, and part of the fallout of that in an enterprise company is that a lot of like data entry roles, a lot of roles focused on, data management, moving information between systems, working with numbers, accounting, finance, basically anything that's not really customer facing, anything that's involving numbers, code, developers, those roles, those are the roles that are in trouble. So if you look at it through that lens, you can say, yes, AI is replacing people because the people are doing skills that AI can just now do so much faster and better. But then if you look at it through the lens of your business, what AI enables you to do is take care of all of that other work so that your people that are focused on human connection, whether that's you as a solopreneur or whether that's team members, salespeople, CSMs, that's client success managers, like customer relationship managers, if those people can put their energy into building those relationships, I believe, and this is something we talk about from time to time, but I believe that AI is about enabling you to put more time and energy into human connection. This is what we do in Amy's Business Betches. Mina, her operations director, has shifted her role now that we've automated a ton of the admin stuff and the customer booking stuff that she had to do. Her role has changed into more time nurturing, more time relationship building, more time building team culture, team members now feel part of something as opposed to everyone just being rushed off their feet trying to catch up with all the appointment bookings and who filled what and who's doing what and blah 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 blah. So with that intro in mind, let's dive into the foundations of personalized outreach, which is a couple of parts. Number one, database. Now, when you're starting out, using an Excel sheet or a Google sheet is okay for the time being. It will start you off. But at some point, especially if you're going to begin using AI, it's worth putting a little bit of time. It's actually not that hard. And it's not just, trust me, it's not just me saying it, it's not that hard, but just a little bit of time into learning a free database system like Supabase, Supabase. So Supabase, the easiest way to explain it is it's like a spreadsheet on steroids. It's spreadsheets connected to spreadsheets. It functions when you understand how it works. And there's like YouTube videos like how to get started with Supabase. Again, like I always say, if you want to get started, just watch a 30-minute YouTube video. It will help you out. The reason that database is so important is as you begin having one-on-one conversations, you're going to want to have somewhere to know, well, who have you spoken to? What have you said with people? How's that conversation gone? How are you going to offer to help this prospective customer of yours? And over time, having a good database will be the core, will be the backbone of everything that you do when it comes to building systems on top. It's quite tricky to build lots of systems on top of a Google Sheet. It's a bit duct tapey. I found that. But if you have a good database at the core of your business, everything else can be built on top of that database. Everything. So it's worth putting a little bit of time just learning, how can I start using Supabase? It's free. You can get 3 free databases, I think up to something crazy like, I don't know, like 10,000 records or something like that, 3 of them. So like you won't be paying for it for a while. The only thing is it spins down every 7 days. You get an email saying your database is spun down. You just click a link and just say reactivate. Like it doesn't matter if it's down, like you just reactivate and it comes back to life. They just pause projects that people have just forgotten about and gone off to do other things. That's all. So that's all. That's the only reason to essentially pay for it at that stage. Number 2, data. You have a database, you need somewhere to put it. So data. Now I'm going to show you a little something. This one will apply to B2B, but again, focus on the ideas behind it because there's many, many, many different ways to gather data. But let me go to a really useful tool. I'm going to show you my my secrets now. Here we are. So there's lots of data sites. One of the absolute monsters, one of the big ones, is Apollo.io. Okay. Now, the problem with Apollo.io is it's bloody expensive. Like you want to get any number of records, it's got to cost just an obscene amount of money just to it's just not feasible for small business owners. However, what you can do is you can hover on the little search bar here, go on people, because we want to target like a decision maker in a business in this case. Remember, this one is B2B, but just watch and, we can apply some of the stuff to B2C if you have other ways of gathering data. And then you can use Apollo to search for job titles in locations for different industries, keywords. You can put in market segments. You can put in a lot of different filters, as you can see on the left here. And what I've got here, this was a filter that I was testing for a now client, to basically look at how many creative agency director contacts does Apollo have in Australia and New Zealand, creative agencies, and then director, owner, CEO, founder, partner, okay, these job roles. 7,900 records. So here's what you do. You then grab this search URL, you copy paste it, you go to ampleleads.io, you sign in or create an account if you don't have one. You then move your Fathom out of the way. You then paste in the Apollo search URL. You put in how many leads you want to scrape. We've got a maximum of 7.9K here. So if I wanted all of them, I put 8,000 leads, 8,000 credits, that would cost me. I call the file whatever I want, and I would click start scraping. How much do credits cost? There you go. If I click buy credits, I'm just going to come out of that. 11,500 records, $29 a month. You buy it once, you immediately cancel, you just get your 11,500 credits. This is what I do. I don't pay the monthly. I just literally buy it when I need it and then just immediately cancel it after I've done the scrape, got the records, moved them into my database. Okay. $29 for 11,500 email addresses of directors at the business type that I want to target, in the locations that I want to target. That is an insane, insanely low cost per lead. Or cost per, it's not really a lead yet, but cost per contact. It's cost per contact. Okay, so that's the first stage. The next stage is we want to make sure that the email addresses are verified and that they are like basically actual active email addresses. Now, there's a number of different bounce detection services you can use, but you can run those email addresses that you've just purchased through a email verification service. So one that I use is a little on the pricier side, but so far it's been pretty good. So this one here is called Bouncer. So it's usebouncer.com. And you would add a new list and you would just upload your list that you've just got from Apollo. You run it through Bouncer and it basically runs like this. It gives you an assessment of the data. How many are confirmed deliverable? How many are potentially risky because of unverified domains or no response from their server? Those kind of things. How many are definitely undeliverable? Like, do not email these guys. Those are the kind of ones where email providers set up what's called spam traps. So like when an email address is unused for 6 months, Gmail or Outlook or other mail providers can collect those email addresses and they basically turn it into something called a spam trap, whereby if you then market to that email address, they know that you're a marketer and you're sending to old data, and that will immediately flag your domain as spam. So the third thing as well is if you are doing cold email, do not use your main domain. Because if you do cold email and you do mess up and there's a little bit of a learning, path when you get started with this stuff to make sure that you're kind of protecting your domain health and so on and so forth, use another domain. So for me, I have danholloway.co and I have another domain, which is dan-holloway.com. And I use that one to send my emails from. So I have lots of email addresses like dan.holloway@dan-holloway.com or danh@dan-holloway.com or dan@ or daniel@ or danholloway@ or dan.holloway@ or like loads of combinations, right? And so each of those are free, by the way, through my hosting company. And so when I do cold email outreach, I use a system called instantly.ai. I'll show you that in a sec. What that means is that I can send emails from many different addresses. I make sure that the emails that I'm sending to are likely to be active and verified, so my bounce rate stays very low. It protects the domain that I've purchased, but worst case, if I do mess up a bit or do something wrong or hit a spam trap or something like that, I'm not burning my main domain that all my website, my socials and everything point to. Okay. So service I use, another little tip. It's going to be a bunch of top tips today. I'm telling you. Service I use, namecheap.com. Do not use GoDaddy. Do not use Wix domains. Do not use any of the big ones. They overcharge so much. I mean, like if I just go to Namecheap and I search for, let me just search for my name like this. Yeah, zoom out of the way. Cool. So scroll down to these guys. A lot of these ones, like Dan Holloway dot club tech, Dan Holloway dot space. There you go. Cheapest I can see. Dan Holloway dot space, 83 cents. And if you do a couple of searches for different combinations, you'll find a load that are similar to your domain for between 83 cents and $2.53. There's like, you know, a load. And it's not one of these things where then you add it and it's like, oh, now it's going to charge you a bunch of extra stuff. It's literally added in cart. If I go to checkout, I'll show you here. Okay, so I need to switch the VPN to US and it will go as $0.83, by the way. But you can just go 1 year, turn off auto renew, have free domain protection, free forever, don't need any other services, confirm order, and that will be whatever your price is in this one here. There you go, you've got a domain for $1.68. You then, if you have a hosting company already, you can just point the domain via what's called name servers to your hosting company. If you don't know how to do that, just Google search how to change Namecheap name servers to your hosting company, whatever. It's just a little setting in the domain. In fact, let me show you. I'll just show you. It's like super quick. So you just go to, let me come out the payment gateway. Let me come out the payment gateway. Let me get zoom out of the way. So I've got Windows left, right, center everywhere. Let me sign in. Cool. Account. So once you bought it, go to your dashboard, look at your domain list on the left-hand side. Click on the domain that you just bought. Click Manage on the right-hand side. And then down here, you just change the name servers to custom DNS, this guy here, and then put your name servers for your own hosting company. So I use InMotion. I use a shared server. I pay like, I think it's 80 quid a year, but you can pay monthly as well. Like, I think 8 quid a month or something. So they give you like 2 months free if you do yearly, something like that. And you can host as many domains as you want. No joke, I've probably got like domains and subdomains. I probably have like 200 or something like that for 80 quid a year on InMotion. All right. So that's the initial setup for email marketing. Let me stop share. But again, a lot of the principles. So the first stage is database. The second stage is gathering the data. And then the third stage is we want to start to qualify the data. Now, I'm going to share something with you. You guys watching the replay, every now and then, I put a little NAN workflow template in the description down below for you. I've made a little simple one. This is a really cool discovery, right? I used to use scraper tools in NAN. I used to use something called Firecrawl, but I have figured out how to scrape a website for free with what's called a HTTP request node in NAN. And then what that comes back with is just a huge set of like raw HTML data. It's very, 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 very messy. But then I've got a simple code node in NAN that I had Claude make. And what that code node does is it extracts the key information from that huge raw text jargon of just higgledy-piggledy gobbledygook, and it extracts the useful stuff from the website. So the point of this is going to be the foundation that you will then use to have AI generate personalized content. The way that looks is you would use something like an NAN to hook up Supabase, which hooks up very well with NAN. You'd extract the records out of Supabase. You would then do something with the records, right? So you'd say like, I want to review the website information and write a personalized bit of copy that says, hey, notice you guys are doing really good job with XYZ project. Saw that you're making an impact in Brisbane based on that recent award you won last March. Anyway, thought I'd reach out because main topic of the email, right? That would be an example of like, in theory, how to do the personalized text. So I've just spotted the chat as well. Bibi, sorry, I didn't see your question straight at the start. Yeah, type any questions you have in chat throughout the call. And I'm throwing a lot of stuff at you right now. But if you have any questions, just type them in the chat and I'll try and cover it at the end of the call for you. So let me show you this little workflow. Again, just to kind of highlight what's happening. And then we'll tie in a minute to how to use this in principle and in practice to generate personalized copy for a database. So you'll hopefully see in a minute why the database is so important, because if you're running these AI workflows, let me share a screen. There we go. If you're running AI workflows, obviously in an ideal world, you want to be building something like an asset that you can keep growing and enriching and growing and enriching over time. And this is a little side note. I noticed that so many of the little things that I've been building, like, you know, stuff that I've shared on these masterclasses and stuff, it's cool and it's useful and it provides value, but they're so like standalone. They just, there's this own little thing that lives over here. And a lot of it is just sort of held together by duct tape, basically. And now I'm starting to think, right, how can I build these things from the ground up, which often starts with database, so that agents can call other agents, can run other agents, and actually have like one project manager agent orchestrating a team of other agents that all have little individual tasks. So things like, you know, a small agent might be look into my Superbase database and look for any records that have a gap with no website scrape data, and then go and call this little workflow to run the website scrape and get the data from the website. And like, if that little agent can just run in the background and be called by other agents, and it's just enriching your database, you can see how that all starts with just having a database. You know, if you're running out of multiple Excel spreadsheets, it's going to be a nightmare. This is not going to work. So the workflow that I was going to show you, where the bloody hell did I save it? So this is where all of my hundreds of N8N workflows are going to be. There you go, scrape site HTTP request. Cool. So what it basically is, and I'll just show you on a past execution where I was testing. I need to hook this up to an actual workflow, the actual database, and start running it. But you'll see from here how this functions. We basically have a website that will be fed in as a custom field to scrape from Superbase. All right, so the first step would be, in fact, let me pin that to editor so I can show you. Cool. So the first step would be like, and have an agent call the workflow via webhook, and then go into Superbase and get many rows. And then you basically say like, get many rows, and we want to get contacts from the contacts table. I'm not going to return all because I have like 8,500 records in there. I'm just going to return 50. It'll take bloody ages to load otherwise. So we're just saying we want to return any records. I'm going to hook this up to there like that. It gets zoom out of the way. Cool. And I'm going to, just for the purpose of this exercise, I'm just going to run that. Okay, so I would feed this in here, and I would basically then say the website, or hold on, let me just quickly switch that. I've just realized I need it for my company step. Cool. And then from here, I would go take the website, but I'm actually going to use the domain because I know in Superbase, the domain field, it strips all the W's. I'm going to say like this, take this domain, and I'd also would need to add a loop node, like so. Get rid of that, get rid of that. I'll explain this in a second, don't worry. If this is going over your head, don't panic. I promise it will make sense to some degree. Just get it in principle, in theory. Okay, so what we will basically be saying here is in N8N, we've got a little agent that gets data from the database, and we'd add a filter to say if the website scrape is not found, what it's going to do is it's going to go in, it's going to find all those empty fields, it's then going to send this HTTP request, What that would look like is all of the jargon that I was saying earlier. It would just go scrape a website and it would look like this on the right-hand side. Absolute mess, right? So like you can't read that. You don't know what's going on. There's so much text, and that's going to burn tokens if you start feeding that through AI LLMs. It's going to cost a fortune. This is one of the problems I was finding before. But then this code node, the next step, what it does is it will output, here's the social media links. Here's an overview of what the company does. All right, socials, differentiators, services offered, projects, about, contact. All right, it's not going to get all the fields all the time, but it's going to get a pretty good extraction of what is this business about, right? What are they doing? This is then the info that we would feed back into Supabase and update the database. So now, if you envision this, you'd have a record, a big database of companies or prospects if you're B2C, and that would have information on, who they are, how to contact them. We make sure the emails are legit. They've actually been cleansed and cleaned and they're valid. We've got info from their website in their words. What do they do? Who do they serve? What are their past projects, et cetera, et cetera. That is the context to then start doing some really cool stuff with personalized messaging. And again, I'm going to show you a couple of things. I want to spark some ideas. Don't panic too much about the specifics, but just realize that this stuff is possible, and that will start to expand, ideas in other areas of your business as well. You start thinking, oh, maybe I could apply this little thing to this thing over here and actually improve my customer journey. Because remember, everything goes through customer journey. You look at your business through the lens of customer journey. Your customer experience, especially when you're starting out, like that's really all that matters. From the moment they hear about you to the moment you deliver your solution and how they experience that journey in the middle. Okay. Admin, finance, HR, we're not at that. We don't need to worry about that yet. That's down the line. Okay. So I am going to show you now some custom fields. And the way that that's going to look is, let me come out of this, I'm going to save that for now. Let me come out of this workflow. And I'm probably going to come out of, should I do this in N8N or should I do this in Supabase? What would make the most sense? In fact, no, I'm going to do this in instantly. I'm going to show you the end result so you can really get what the point of this is. So I'll give you access to workflows that I have, again, in the description down below in this school community. If you're watching this on YouTube, down below, you'll see the link to join the school community. It's free. People on this masterclass are in the community. But if you're in the community and you're watching this replay, down below, you'll see the workflows to go ahead and access yourself for free. I don't want anything for them. They're yours. And then what this will enable you to do is take the website data from your database and search it for things like what projects have they done in the past? And then you can create what's called a custom column in your database to say, this company has done these projects. What's the point? Well, when you're doing cold email outreach, so if I log into, I'm going to actually log into my account, not this one here. So I've got things in the way everywhere. Let me log out, log out. Let me go that one. So what's the point of custom fields? Well, the point of custom fields is that when you're sending a cold email campaign, this is a system called instantly.ai. This is specifically for cold email outreach. It's not an autoresponder follow-up. Custom fields can look like this. I go to sequences. I'm going to actually use batch 1. This is one of my, this is the, sorry, batch 2 is the top performer. I'm going to use this one. This will give you a good idea. Here we go. So we have a template. These are the custom fields. First name. A lot of us from the marketing world, we know about first name custom parameters, right, in email autoresponders. Then we've got custom fields. And again, all of this is stuff that I've enriched the database with simple little AI workflows. Okay, what city are they in? It's on their contact page, or it's in the data when you scrape it from ample leads. What products and service do they do? So this one is just a little agent that runs and it searches their website data to say, are they a construction company? Are they a creative marketing company? Are they a bathroom fit out company? And it will just find out what it will just create this dynamic field, which basically just says like, what type of company are they? So I use it always as like, they're a construction, and then I always use companies afterwards, right? So we'll have like a construction dynamic field if they're a construction company. So here I then go, just had another look through your site, and based on your Marriott Bonveer project and your Clifton Heights project, it looks like you guys are doing all right. So again, it's just dynamic fields pulled from their website that just personalizes what would otherwise be, I've just seen your website and you guys are obviously very good. It's like, come on, you said that to 10,000 people. You know, it's just a little bit of extra personalization. But the bit that I'm most proud of, and this is, if you take one thing from this, take this. A lot of businesses, B2B sectors, and this campaign is targeting Aussie construction businesses. I was like, I bet these guys, if I can mention their competitors in an email and highlight how they could get one up on those competitors, the response rate is going to be, they'll be like, yeah, all right, I see what this guy's got to offer. I want to get one up on the guys down the road, right? So what I did, I built a simple workflow that went into the database. It took their website. It took their product and service. So this one here, it took their city. So like Brisbane construction companies. It then ran a Google search for top Brisbane construction companies, and then it extracted the top 3 results, providing it wasn't the company I was doing the scrape for, right? So the top 3 companies that were not the company that the workflow was running for. What that then gathered was the name of 3 competitors that are like also Brisbane construction companies. They're obviously going to know them. And so now I can use these fields in lots and lots and lots of different emails. I can always just reference competitors of theirs. Okay. So again, think about it. It doesn't mean, oh, you're going to go and do exactly the same thing necessarily, but think about what information do your prospects care about, or could be emotionally triggering, emotionally charged, could be relevant to their day-to-day life, their daily method of operation. And how could you find out that information? By using just little AI workflows like Perplexity. Perplexity is the best one to use for web search stuff, right? Use Perplexity in a workflow to just go and do a simple little search, find their competitors, and then reference those dynamic fields. You go ahead and then send this personalized message. What does it look like? It looks like this. I'll show you. So we go, it actually doesn't matter what I sent from. I'm just going to pick a random name. Remember, Aussie construction guys, that's who we're targeting. How you doing, Michael? Very casual, very informal. I know this is a long shot, but I heard about you guys a couple of weeks ago from an Aussie ex-construction mate who I'm working with at the moment. He said you guys are one of the main go-to Ashfield tile polishing companies. Highly personalized, right? Like, okay, that's very specific. Just had another look through your site, and based on your MLT1 tiling project and MLT1 polishing project, sometimes it's going to seem a little clunky, but okay, fine. It looks like you guys are doing all right. So I figured there's a chance you might spend almost as much time buried in cost estimation spreadsheets as you do on the job. Anyway, there's a decent chance that me and my business partner can save you tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars a year, depending on your revenue range. We do, blah, 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 blah. Don't need to read that. You can do if you want. This will give you a huge edge over the likes of tile cleaners, Sydney tile experts, and Jim's Cleaning, because you could get shit hot, well-crafted proposals out the door more than 10 times faster than them without spending any of your time doing it. No hard feelings if this isn't up your street, but I thought it was worth an ask just in case your 2026 goals involve saving a bunch of cash time and getting one up on your competition. Worth a look, do you reckon? Cheers, Dan. Okay. So it's definitely a different approach other than, hey there, we do these systems, and if you're interested, would you like to book a call? Delete. And so it's like just thinking about these little things, you know, how can you use little AI workflows to enrich a database with the purpose of having more unique, tailored, customized conversations with your prospects, with your target market. And if you can think along these lines and be a little outside the box, it's going to give you a massive, massive differentiator over what a lot of people, most people, in fact, are still doing in the market, in your market. Okay. I have a couple of things that are going to help with this and just in general. I wanted to share these things with you last week. I'm going to share these with you this week. I'm wondering, yeah, I'm gonna go into this. We've got 20 minutes till the top of the hour. We've got, what's that, 35 minutes until the absolute hard stop, the commitment that we always have for you guys. We're not going to run on longer than 1 hour 15 absolute max. Conscious of your time. Wing Commander Thwaites is going to love this. I know we've mentioned Claude Code a couple of times. I'm now going to show you guys an introduction to Claude Code. And the reason I'm going to show this to you guys now is because it's suddenly got more user-friendly, way more user-friendly than it has ever been. So I'm going to quickly explain what it is, why it's so goddamn powerful, why it's literally the future of everything, and why even the stuff that I've shown you in NAN, it's getting to the point where you actually don't need to use NAN. You can just use your own Claude subscription with Claude Code to build out these kind of systems, right? And when we talk about database, if you were like, oh my goodness, oh Christ, this does not sound like my thing, this is going to be very confusing. Well, the good news is Claude Code can just build it for you and run it for you. Again, all under your Claude subscription. So what is Claude Code? Most people, if they're not aware, they think I'm referencing Claude, the AI, the LLM, Claude.ai, and you go and type to Claude like you would to ChatGPT. Claude Code is different. Claude Code is it's natively added to your machine. It's a specialist model of Claude that focuses on coding, development, platforms, dashboards, user interfaces, website design, systems design, like anything that a developer would otherwise do. This is what Claude Code is for. Runs natively on your system. What it looked like prior to just a few weeks ago was terrifying for most of us that were not from any kind of tech background. It looked like this. You'd have to run it through a platform like VS Code, through terminal. It just looks like what on earth is going on? This bloody hell, right? So it takes a little while to learn. Once you do, you're like, oh, okay, I understand. These are literally just files in my computer. So I have a Claude Code folder. Everything is run through just your own folder network. And what it basically does is it will go into a folder and it will start building files, code files, in that folder. And then when you're finished and everything looks great and it's like you've got the shiny new user interface, an app or whatever, it deploys it online. And there's a number of ways to deploy online. We're not going to go through that right now. Again, Claude can guide you and I can give you best practices. But what it looks like now is this. That's much less scary, right? So this is the Claude desktop app. You have chat, which we're all used to, just like ChatGPT. You have co-work, which is to do with spinning up agents to run tasks. We're not going to go through that today. And you have Claude Code. The way to install Claude Code for the first time, very simple. Just first of all, just Google it. You can literally just Google how to install Claude Code. Do I have it open? Yes, I do. code.claude.com/docs/en/setup. Again, just Google Claude Code installation. And all you're going to do is you're going to grab this little code here, copy that. You're going to open your terminal. Where is terminal? So go to your system, your Mac applications, just type in terminal, open terminal, like that. Looks a little scary. You're like, what is this thing here? Don't worry about it. Just literally paste in that. I'm not going to hit enter because I don't want to reinstall Claude over my Claude Code. But you just hit enter. It will run the install. It might prompt you to install something called Homebrew, which is what allows your Mac to basically speak to these kind of tools and systems. And again, if you get stuck, just speak to actual Claude, like just literally go on Claude.ai and just say, hey, I'm trying to install Claude Code, help. And it will walk you through what to copy paste. It's pretty straightforward. And as soon as it's on your machine, it will appear in the Mac desktop app. Again, if you don't have the Mac desktop app, just type download Claude Mac desktop app like that. Right, Claude.com, installing Claude. Again, just literally go to the download and download the desktop app. Make sure it's on Claude.com, not a Mickey Mouse copycat website or something. Claude.com. And once you got it, you can literally pick a folder or create a folder in your computer. You can just go in here, right, in your folder. I'm going to choose, let me just choose something. Let me go to iCloud, let me go Documents. Let's go Claude Code, and I'm just going to go like, we'll just keep it simple, go new folder, test. Cool. Like so. And then I'm in a folder and I can say, hey, I want to build an app. Now, I'm not going to write you a shitty prompt now, but what I am going to give you is a template, which I use in my Notion. And again, don't worry if you don't use Notion. This is you can use Notes, you can use Google Docs, you can use whatever you want. You know, it's just a template for prompting Claude code. And a couple of guidelines that I will tell you off the bat is whenever you use Claude code, you always want to start by creating a PRD. So you just tell Claude what the task is, what the outline is, what tools are we going to use, what systems. If you don't know, just ask, like say, hey, what would you recommend for this build? And it will actually tell you now very accurately what you should be using. It'll come up with things like tailwind.css and next.js for front end, and you probably want Postgres for database at the back end. It's all going to sound very confusing, but a lot of the times it can guide you. And also, you know, this task outline, this template, I've got a lot of stuff in here already that you might consider using, you know, for different builds. But you're basically saying, what's the project? This seems a bit technical, but again, if you don't know what anything means, just literally delete it and just say, how do I host this online? And Claude will advise you on some options. We've talked about hosting it before, VPS, on these masterclasses. I think, John, I know you've mentioned it before. I don't know if you have a hosting of VPS yet, but you know, there's lots of options for hosting free online. Vercel is a free option, free hosting that a lot of these builds nowadays, people are using Vercel to deploy things online, whether that's websites or apps or, you know, whatever you build in Claude code. And the template then is, I'm going to give you a simplified version of this actually, because I've factored in some things that you won't need when you're starting out. So I'll just give you a simple version. And all I literally then do is I feed this through to a generator that will generate the whole prompt. It's an N8N workflow. Don't worry about that. I'll just give you the actual template, and then over time you can start to improve it and add things and customize it as you wish. What's the point of all of this? The point of all of this is we are reaching a stage now where there is a very low, comparatively very low barrier to entry for building anything you can visualize. What do I mean by that? Well, the other day, we were doing a presentation for Betches Walking Betches, Amy's business. We were doing a presentation to a potential JV partner in Bozeman. I was like, well, was it Amy's idea? It might have been Amy's idea. Let's be honest, it was probably Amy's idea. It was like, we needed ROI calculators to demonstrate the value of this proposal. So in, I don't know, 40 minutes, 45 minutes, just a little bit of back and forward. I basically input my template for Betches branding. So I always have a branding template. So all of you guys, if you've got a business, like you have a template for what's your branding for the business, hex codes, fonts, those kind of things, right? So there's one thing you're going to use again and again. So you make a branding template. Other thing you're going to use as well, like the Claude code template I'll give you. So it's going to outline best practices, like what design tools to use, those kind of things. And then the only other thing you need is your overview of what is the task? What are you trying to do? So I was like, I could probably, can I show you the prompt? I could probably dig it up. And this maybe not necessary, but it was essentially like, I want to build an ROI dashboard that factors in these things and displays what the potential profit is on somebody partnering with us. Here are the figures that we know. Here's the important numbers from a business standpoint. And again, if you don't know these numbers, you can just ask, say, I'm trying to do this. What would you advise I do? Like just literally put that into your prompt. And if you start with generating a PRD and you start in plan mode, right? So you go this little setting here. See this? So you just go ask permissions and you go plan mode. like that. Okay. It's going to generate a plan. First of all, you can look at the plan. You can paste the plan into normal Claude or ChatGPT and say, does this seem like a good idea? You can cross-reference them and have them check it and so on and so forth. Have them search the internet to see if this is the best practice, whatever. It's going to come up with a plan. Once you're happy with the plan, you just click, bang, like go, start. I would suggest when you're starting out, turn ask permissions on. Don't turn auto accept edits on. This is just going to get you sort of a little bit familiar. It's going to say, do you want me to add this file to this folder? Most like just have it working in a folder that you don't mind about, like a new test folder. There's nothing in there. Like just that's what it will have access to, like whatever is specified in this folder. But you'll start to get a feel for what's it doing, what's it connecting to, like what things happen when a build happens. At first, it will look alien. Very quickly, it will start to make sense, I promise you. So at the end of all of this, the first time you visualize something, you're like, I'm going to try and build a dashboard that shows me something, right? Just literally, just give it a go. Just try it out and see what happens. It will start to open your mind again to the possibilities of what you can do. And it's the point that I wanted to make. These little tools, these little dashboards, things like this. We had another one for Chrome Construct, right? So similar, just very quickly, just spun up, just a little ROI calculator. And there's all sorts of builds now that I'm starting to deploy, again, using Claude Code. I'm trying to think of like systems architecture to hook up loads of stuff. So, this is sort of big picture thinking, but when you're starting out, just be like, I want to try and build this one thing that will help me solve this problem. Great. Get it to Claude Code. The $20 a month Claude subscription, Pro, I believe it's called, I'm still on the $20 a month. Right? I've managed to not go to max, which was, I'm actually using it a lot. I'm being pretty conservative with how I'm using tokens. Like I'm being quite trying to be smart about how I structure things. But the $20 a month is letting me build a decent amount of stuff, even using Opus 4.6. So Opus 4.6 is the top level model. It's the best one for this kind of stuff, for more complex builds. And if you just want to play around, just use Sonnet 4.6 as well. It's going to give you a lot more runway to just test stuff and try stuff and fail stuff. And a lot of you guys know Stuart Ross. Spoke to Stuart the other day. He's deep in Claude Code. Like we had a proper geeking out chat about like the possibilities of the future and how it's going. And like both of us are just like, this is so incredible how we, like us normal mere mortals who can't code and can't do any development level stuff, we can just like visualize something and build it. And it's just like so cool. And that barrier to entry is just getting lower and lower and lower and lower. Opus 4.6 was the game changer. I won't bore you with why, but then now combine that with adding Claude Code into the desktop app. It doesn't look terrifying anymore in VS Code or Cursor or any of these systems. I would urge you to go and have a little play around with it. Watch a YouTube video, how to get started with Claude Code. It's within reach for a lot of us. And what will happen is when you start using these tools, again, I've said this like 5 times on this masterclass already. I'll say it one more time. It's going to start to open your mind as to the possibility of what you can build and the kind of customer journeys, the customer experiences that you can create. Right now, I'm putting so much energy into thinking about the like lead magnets. What lead magnets can I give people? Instead of here's a PDF, I'm like, I could literally spin up an interactive, customized dashboard that will show them, just a little thing, but then have them interact with it. And it's in their branding and it's spun up on demand on a website when I clicked a button. They're now doing a little demo work, like a little demo exercise, a little run through of a system that looks like theirs already. And then at the end of it, it's like, if you're interested in getting something like this, book a call. Like, how much higher are the conversion rate is going to be off of me going, hey, do you want to book a call in an email? Are you interested? Yeah, maybe. We'll see. Oh, I've had to reschedule. Oh, I'm not interested anymore. That's often a typical response without that kind of like warm-up process. So it's like these little things, I'm just like, shit, this is really changing how we interact with people. The potential is fantastic. I'd urge you to have a play around with it. It's so much more accessible than it's ever been. Any questions? Oh my goodness, we have Let's have a look. Let's have a look. Oh, I've scrolled up. We've got a good, decent question. John, are we legally allowed to cold email prospects we've identified and collected from a scrape? Good question, John. Thank you for reminding me to clarify this. If it's business to business, you can do what you like. You can reach out to businesses for any purpose. You know, their business email addresses are open to, you know, to target, no problem. If it's B2C, so if it's a personal email address, a consumer, that's a no-no. Don't go and if they haven't explicitly opted in, this is like GDPR, this is privacy policy stuff. You know, this is how we need to, why we need to collect opt-ins before we start. Like, we need to have the disclaimers below an opt-in. You know, you can unsubscribe at any time. We promise we won't send you, you know, 50 billion emails a day. Blah 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 blah. So opt-ins are important. That being said, if you take some of these ideas, let's say you on your website, let's say you build a section of your website, maybe hosted in Vercel, that displays a really cool interactive tool or dashboard or like coaching exercise or like personality assessment, profiling tool, something that's like figure out your archetype. Like there's the Bali Brotherhood's an organization here in Bali, and they're I won't go into it now, but there's like an archetype thing that they can now build because of this technology. And that could be a really cool thing to just have on their website. Figure out what archetype you are. Boom, boom, boom. What's the call to action at the end? Oh, if you want to get your report, opt in. Like, it's so much cool, not just cooler, but it's so much more useful for somebody than it ever has been before. And again, it was really difficult to build, like, generate a custom report. Like, companies did it, of course. It's like, you know, but it takes a developer, it takes a quite a technological process to have that actually spit out a really good report at the end. But for us mere mortals, now we can do it, right? So that would be, if you're B2C, think about how you can get an email opt-in to then, you know, engage with your target market by delivering really good value at the front end through your website. Anyone on social media? Linktree. What does Linktree go to? Take your free personality assessment. Discover this, go through this, Linktree to a Vercel hosted app that you've built that really helps someone explore a problem that they're facing right now, you know, straight off your socials. That could be a really good idea. BB, question. I'd love your perspective on the next most important steps to get my MVP selling as quickly as possible. Okay, quick thing I will say for you before I read the rest of your question. Last week's call, we actually had one of our buddies. Have you seen it already? Tell me if you've already watched. You have. Okay,
No,
fantastic.
I watched the 2 weeks to start your business, the MVP thing there.
Got it. That was the one where the section of where Zach was on the call and we were talking about his book launch, or am I thinking of a different one?
So you're talking about last week's call, right? I
Yeah.
can go watch that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. No worries. Glad that you've already got value from the classroom. That's awesome. And yes, last week's call as well, we were specifically talking about his you know, MVP type approach for like getting his offer out there. How can he begin getting traction? How can he focus on what's important? How can he get customer feedback? And also, do you know Sophia? Sophia Fox, Sisterhood?
Yeah, she's a friend
Yes.
of mine.
Brilliant. We had a call where Sophia was I guess you say kind of in a hot seat. And what masterclass was that? I'm not going to be able to remember, but I'll maybe have a look if I remember. But it was maybe, oh blimey, 8 weeks ago, 6 weeks ago, something like that. And we were really digging into like MVP launch strategy, and there was a big theme around the difference between intention, like buying intent, and expressed interest. So expressed interest would be like, hey, do you want to join my waiting list for X service that I'm thinking of launching? Oh, I think you're frozen. BB is still there. Can you hear us? Ah, she's rejoined. Okay. Cool. We've got two BBs. There we are. So I was just saying that the call with Sophia, whenever it was, I can't remember. I'll have to check which masterclass it is for you. But we were really digging into the difference between buyer intent and expressed interest at the MVP stage. So expressed
That was
interest.
the one I watched.
Was it? Okay, fantastic.
Yeah,
Good. So that'll help,
great.
and the Zach one as well. Just for anyone who's watching the replay and wants me to finish that thought, if you're like, but what is it? Tell me. It's the difference is something like, hey, I'm launching this project. Would you like to join the waitlist? And plenty of people say, oh yeah, I'll go on the waitlist, no problem at all. But the difference is when you say, would you like to hand over your card details and pay a deposit to reserve an early bird price or something like that, suddenly you might get crickets. Everyone's like, maybe I'll come back to you and I'll think about it. So the way that you, again, BB, I know you've just seen this, anyone else, the way that you would test, like if an actual offer has value to a specific market, is you really want to focus on how can I get buyer intent? Even if it's just like $5 to secure, a spot or something. And obviously the way you do the MVP launch, I won't go through it now, but for anyone else, watch those 2 replays. You're just trying to find the most fast, direct route to put the idea of your offer in front of your target market and find some way to get buyer intent to show you that there's demand. Once you have that, you're then like, great, that's my proof of concept for the offer that I'm going to build out now. Then you go and build out the solution. Let me read your question. So goal, launch and sell my first product within the next 30 days. Context, I'm building a personal brand as a dating coach for conscious women. Love it. After becoming a single mum and re-entering dating, I started using AI very intentionally to analyze my own patterns, understand the men I was attracting, and change how I communicate and show up. Over time, I trained a GPT with everything I learned about attraction patterns, nervous system awareness, and communication. It helped me a lot to shift the type of men I attract and how dating feels. Good work. Now I want to turn this into a simple first product. Access to my Love AI plus a few short videos showing women how to use it in real dating situations. My current idea for validation is story selling on Instagram daily in March. From your perspective, what would be the smartest steps to validate and start selling this quickly without overbuilding? Great question. I also sell the Love AI as an add-on to my one-to-one coaching. I use the feminine archetypes as well. That's awesome that Barney Bothered is doing that. Nice one. Cool. Okay, so looking at this through the MVP lens, you want to turn this into a simple first product, access to my Love AI, a few short videos showing women how to use it in real dating situations. The first, what I will probably say if I was in your shoes, did you say... Okay, then you said, do you have an offer quantified already? Like, I help women achieve XYZ so that XYZ.
Yeah, I mean, I have like 100 different versions of it written down, but it's something like I help conscious, self-aware women to understand their nervous system patterns so they can attract the man they really want, something like that.
Got it. Okay. So part of let's say the testing phase is going to be figuring out what use of language resonates with the target market. And that's going to be subtle differences like, is it attract the man you really want? Is it find a masculine partner to counteract your feminine, whatever? Is it like there's going to be, as you said, you've got 100 different variations of this. And so there's probably 2 parts that I'd be thinking about with this. The first part is testing variations, seeing what lands, seeing what converts, seeing what gets traction. And then the second part is, well, how do you determine what is traction? What is conversion? What is knowing what works and what doesn't work? And so what platform are you going to be using? Did you say
Instagram.
Instagram? Is that right? Yeah.
And
Okay,
something
great.
that I already did is post in the Bali Sisterhood that I will give 3 free calls to women who are looking for something like this. And one immediately replied, and I asked her like to describe her problem, and she said in her words like that she wants to attract soulmates with whom she doesn't trauma bond. So it's quite a spiritual language.
Got
But
it.
yeah, that was the first person who responded. So yeah.
Brilliant. That's great. So trauma bond, twin flame language, like karmic type language. So maybe that's a particular theme. Maybe the theme is around attraction styles, like anxious, attached. Like, is it
Yeah, for
speaking
sure.
into the attraction style? Are you avoidant? Are you anxious, attached? How does that look? So if you, so if you were going down the route of the calls, that's a great idea. Think of it as market research. The most
Yeah.
valuable asset that you could possibly generate off of those calls is a Fathom transcript.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
Susie is well aware of this. We've talked about Fathom transcripts in a lot of our conversations. What the Fathom transcript is, I mean, obviously you know what the transcript is, but like the reason this is so goddamn powerful is you've got direct voice of customer research that can be used and fed into context for various other different workflows and systems and content itself. Like, I for example, all of my LinkedIn posts that go out every single week are literally just crafted from the Fathom transcript that's recording right now from this masterclass. So
Mm-hmm.
all the ideas that we talk about and share in my voice, my tone of voice,
Mm-hmm.
that Fathom transcript is the baseline. My workflow just auto generates 7 to 10 content pieces every single week using the content of this masterclass and auto schedules it to LinkedIn. The only thing that I do is it posts a confirmation in Slack to say, hey, here's the ready content. Do you want to post this? And which image do you want to use? Like it would have generated 3 images. I just pick one. And I just look at it and go, yep, that's good. Yep, that's fine. Yep, that image. No, reject that one. I don't like that. Yep, that one. Yep, click, 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 click. And they're all just dropped in the scheduler. And that's it. I've done LinkedIn content for the week. So for
Wow.
you, it's yes, it's content, but more than that, the stage you're at, it's analyzing these transcripts using AI for repeating patterns in language, the way that they describe their pains and problems. You're using this to extract the voice of customer research, because that's all that's going to happen is you're going to
Mm-hmm.
then position your offer as the direct counterpart to their voice, the way they voice their problems, and that's
Mm-hmm.
going to continue the entire way through your product delivery. And it all
Mm-hmm.
starts with the Fathom transcript. Like
Yeah.
that's the gold.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Okay. And how can I use my Instagram in the next month? Because I
Mhm.
joined this challenge to sell every day, like through storytelling. What would you say? How can I make the most of that to
Mm.
like what's up?
Yeah, good question. So this brings me on to the second point that I referenced earlier. So the
Mm-hmm.
first point, of course, is like, yeah, understanding which offer resonates, which the Fathom transcript is going to help with. The second point is then, well, how do you really test that? You get an offer and you're like, okay, I think this might be the one. I'm going to test it against these other two or this other one or whatever, do an A/B test or an ABC test. And the way that that would look is you're posting content and there's going to be a call to action on some of your content. So let's say, again, like whatever content strategy you choose to use, we've gone through content calls. Again, I really need to like know which masterclass is which. I need like a central guide that I can reference for when I call on other masterclasses. But let's say that you were using like a format of value, authority, CTA, and maybe if you're just recycling like those three things, like you're doing a value piece, maybe value, personal story,
Yeah.
authority, CTA, whatever the format is, right? On the CTA, you then go, okay, well, what is the CTA? And what I would urge you, the way I'd urge you to think about this is not what can I create and get people to click on, is more like, what's the one thing that I keep hearing from my conversations that people wish they had, wish they need, feel they're lacking? Again, it's the voice of customer research. And if you can then come up with like just a something that would help them understand that problem, help them understand what the potential solution would be, help them to actually solve that problem, maybe. But basically, like something that directly connects with the pain or problem that they tell you they have in their voice of customer research. And again,
Mm-hmm.
that might be like Claude Code could build you like a pretty whatever you can envisage, right? You're like, I think it would be really cool for them to do an attraction test, like figure
Mm-hmm.
out what your patterns are.
Mm.
Well, click it. That's
That
the
would
call
be
to
really
action on
cool. Yeah.
Instagram, right? And this is the other thing as well. Like if you're like, I want to track how many people go through this, just prompt Claude Code. Just literally be like, hey, when we finish building this, or as part of your PRD, your first plan, you're like, this dashboard needs to track traffic that hits the front end. It needs to track how many people get through each stage of the process, and we need to provide a report to me at the end that will show me the like an A/B test result of people that have come from a different source, right? So maybe that's like you have two entry links into the URL. So it might be one link is like your domain / dash, and then the other link is like your domain / dashboard. And it's the same thing on both domains, but one of them you're driving from one offer and one of them you're driving from another offer. So you can
Mhm.
literally test, well, one of them had 3 times more traffic than the other. Well, that tells you that it was offer A that actually outperformed it, or whatever. Claude will advise you on the best setup for that build. But that's how you do a split test. Once you've got your voice of customer research, you've got a couple of ideas, you think about how can I really connect with someone if they've got this problem right now, how can I meet them where they're at, try and speak to the problem, understand. Am I back online?
Yes, kind of.
Ooh, kind of. Yeah, the power's just gone out, so I've switched to
Ah,
hotspot.
yeah, yeah, I think now you're back. I wasn't
Now
sure
I'm
if it
back.
was me.
Yeah, I was going to say John Thwaites would have to take over hosting it if that's the case. So I've got 4 minutes left. He did done a fantastic job. Anyway, yeah. So meet them where they're at. Figure out to like understand their problem, explore their problem, understand the potential solution, or even solve the problem. Like if you can do anything in that realm with a call to action that really
Mm.
helps them, and split test it, that's going to be a really powerful MVP route to market. And also off the back of that, you're then setting up yourself for a sales conversation for one-on-one. Like if this has been useful, here's what we can do next. Hop on a call with me. Let's really unpack this and let's discover what you need to help you move through this once and for all, however you position it.
Yeah, okay. Okay. And the call that I watched, there was an N8N like the prompt. I downloaded it, and when I looked at it, I got pretty intimidated. I had no idea how to use that. I only used like pretty much used ChatGPT and something called Sintra. I don't know if you know it.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm fairly new, so maybe like how do you use that actually?
Yeah, so the file that you downloaded, sorry, the file that you downloaded is what's called a JSON file.
Mhm.
It's basically like to us it won't mean anything,
Mhm.
but when you upload it to NAN, it just creates the workflow instantaneously.
Oh,
So it's like
NAN
a
is
it's like a template.
it's its own tool. NAN is like
Yes.
ChatGPT or something. Okay.
So it's a workflow builder.
Mhm.
So would that be the right way for you to go right now? I would say if you're not in NAN at the moment,
I'll do it.
Claude Code is going to make more sense for what you need or what you're looking
Okay.
for right now. Building a simple tool, just something basic. You probably want to host on Vercel, Vercel, free account, free hosting, Vercel, and just say that to
Mhm.
Claude Code. I want to host on Vercel. And what that means is that when it makes the tool on your local machine, just by you prompting it and asking it and doing stuff, if it's like a customer facing tool, I would recommend using it's called Tailwind and
Mhm.
Next.js. So again, this sounds a little intimidating, but it's basically like the language to use to design it.
Mhm.
So Tailwind and Next.js. It will probably recommend it to you without you even asking, to be honest. Most of the time, it's like we should use Tailwind for this. Um,
Mhm.
there's some other things that I'm not going to go through now, potential add-ons. I don't want to overcomplicate it. Like the baseline will give you a really good start and help you create something cool. Um, and then yeah, deploying to Vercel will then give you a domain, like a link that you can then put on a link tree on Instagram or something like that. Go take my
Mhm.
quiz here, you know?
And you mean to use that for the tool itself, like the tool that I will be selling? Because right now I just made a custom GPT and would have sent them the link to that. For the beginning. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, look, the key thing at this point is perhaps you sell them the custom GPT, or
Mhm.
perhaps you come up with an idea for a lead magnet, and you're like, this would be really useful for the people that I'm talking to. Let me just sort of, use this to build, and it might even be a landing page. It might even be a PDF. I'm going to
Mhm.
use Claude Code to make a really beautiful PDF that I don't have to design myself in Canva.
Yeah.
right? That could be something you do. Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, start with that. And then I'd probably say the upsell at the end, it will make sense for a sales call at this point. This
Mm-hmm.
is how I'm launching every funnel that I'm launching right now. I'm trying to do it into a sales call with me because I want to hear what are the objections, what are the questions, what are the language, and this is where the ideas come from. So it's to build the funnel at the front end. Once I have done enough of those myself and I have a front end funnel, which I've then reverse engineered from the sales calls to really, get the right people coming through and converting, then I'm going to go on to the steps of like more streamlining, more automation, building in more things, and ultimately then pre-selling, pre-qualifying, or trying different funnel paths, or hiring a closer instead of me to take myself out of the business. But I'm doing it all first of all because it's so valuable. And again, the Fathom transcripts. Every sales call is just giving you like the most golden asset you could possibly have for any AI system. It's that Fathom
Mm-hmm.
transcripts. It's so good. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, worth doing that.
Okay, I will do that. Do you have any tip on cheap or free landing pages? Do you recommend anything?
Claude Code will build you a landing page.
Ah,
Better
okay,
than, yeah,
cool.
better, faster, more professional looking. Very like, again, you compare it to the old school static landing pages, like the ClickFunnels era, like Convertry stuff, like lead pages, like, any of the landing page builders, compared to what Claude Code will spin up in a single
Mhm.
prompt. You'll be like, whoa, okay.
So
And
I can
again,
literally tell it to build me a landing page. Wow, okay.
yeah, and you can send a screenshot. You can like just go and look online.
Mhm.
You like go find a couple of examples that you really like. Just say, here's a screenshot. Here's my branding. So again, this is why
Mhm.
having just a template bit of text that has your branding, your hex codes, your fonts, your whatever, or even a branding PDF, whatever. You can just upload whatever context you like. You just like, I want you to create a landing page in my branding that models this layout and this format. Use Tailwind, use Next.js, and then we want to host it on Vercel. Generate a
Mhm.
PRD before you start, and then you review the PRD. You look at it, you're like, that looks like what I want. Cool. And then get it to make it, and then it'll just work away. It'll just do its thing, and at the end, it'll say, "Here's your landing page. Click this link on localhost, and it will open it. It's basically on your Mac. It will just open it, and then you're like, it's really good. Or you're like, it's kind of good here, but it's missed the mark here. And you just say you've done this bit a bit wrong. And it's like, okay, let me check it. Da, 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 da. It reiterates and rebuilds it. So you can just send it screenshots and just say, do this. Do you use Figma? Oh, you're back. I said, do you use Figma? Is it me that's disconnecting? I don't know if it's me or BB. Susie, can you hear me? Am I all right? Yeah, okay. Perfect.
Here we go.
BB. Oh, wait, I think we're back. Yeah, I said last thing before we wrap because I know I've gone over
Mhm.
time and I want try and always keep it tight. Do you use Figma?
No idea what that is.
Okay. No worries. Yeah, I was just curious. It's like a design tool thing that helps you create like an idea, like this is what I want, and so you can hook in Figma to Claude Code. And you can say, "Here's my Figma, make this," and it will just do it. So it's like,
Ah,
yeah,
okay,
just
so
another
it
thing to
helps you
potentially.
cover your plans.
Ooh, I'm losing you.
So it helps you with your brand designs, Figma.
It can do. You like a lot of branding designers would use Figma. It's basically like a creative mood board where you can like you're not it's not rigid like a website builder. It's more like a canvas that you can just kind of just design whatever you want to explore the plan for the thing you're going to build in like a website builder. So yeah, don't worry if you don't use Figma. Don't
Mhm.
worry. You don't start diving into Figma. Just
Yeah,
stick with
that
Claude
sounds
Code.
wonderful. Okay, yeah.
Cool.
I will rewatch this a couple times so I really understand it. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome. No problem. I hope this helps. And everyone else, I hope this has been a valuable masterclass. There was one thing, again, I was going to show you one more thing. I'll do it next week. We're going over time because it's got too much stuff to share with you guys. But appreciate you all. Thank you very much for joining live. Wing Commander Thwaites, feel better soon, my friend. Susie, good to see you as always. BB, thank you for joining. It's been a pleasure. And everyone watching the replay, have an awesome rest of your week. If you're on YouTube, click down below, join the community, access all this stuff for free. And if you're in school already and you're watching this, there'll be stuff, little goodies down below to access and download that we've talked about in this masterclass. So thank you guys. Have a good one. Speak to you soon.
Bye.